Okay, don't hit skip before we start today's podcast. I'm really excited. This is a personal, exciting thing for me. I wanted to quickly let you guys know about my upcoming Off the Vine tour called Pour Decisions, Pour, wine will be drank. I'm back on the road for the first leg of our tour. I'm coming through the good old Midwest. For the second half, I'll be headed to the Southeast. So I'm going Columbus, Cleveland, Ohio, Atlanta, Madison, Des Moines, Kansas City, Columbia, Missouri, Tampa, Orlando, Nashville. I'm coming to all you beautiful people. These podcast tours are always a highlight of my year because there's just no other way to put it than it's just pretty damn fun. I get to hang out with you in person. It's just the energy is electric. It's just insane. Like leaving those live podcasts, I'm like, whoa, that felt like an empowerment session. I feel elevated. The vibrations, don't get me started on how high those are. So check out my website, KaitlynBristowe.com, to buy tickets for those who join me. I can guarantee a little dancing, a lot of laughing, wine, lots of wine. Even if you're pregnant. I've had pregnant, sober people come to my show and say it was still fun. They bring their boyfriends, their husbands, and I even see them smiling at the end of it. So let's toast to that. I'll see you on tour.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now starting. Welcome to the
Hey everybody, welcome to Grape Therapy. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Bristowe, and today we have Roxie on the podcast, who is a self-development coach. She is the author of Manifest and Manifest for Kids as well. I loved this conversation because I can have everybody on about manifesting and I will always learn something new. And I told her at the end, in 6 years of podcasting, this was one of my favorite conversations just because it's so inspiring and it makes me feel so motivated to be my best self. We talk about what it means to be high vibrational, high V's, high vibes, if you will, compared to low vibes. We talk about how to remove fear and doubt. We also talk about how to turn envy into inspiration. Those are just a few topics we touch on. I just feel like everybody's going to take something away, and I can't wait to hear at the end if you guys want to leave a review and comment about what you're going to kind of manifest for the week ahead. Yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to hear this one. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited because I love talking all things manifestation, and I feel like you're the best of the best. So everyone can learn something today from you, which is exciting. And I just want to dive right into it because I know we both have about 45 minutes. So time is precious, and I want to get all of the information out of you. So I thought we could just go right back to the beginning and talk about how after years of living a hedonistic lifestyle in your early 20s, fueled by partying and addiction and poor self-care, you kind of found yourself at rock bottom. And I talk about rock bottom a lot on this podcast and how that kind of moment in life propels you into what's next, and you can go like in the right direction, which it always feels like you won't, but you do. So I wanted to know, everybody has heard on my podcast a million times what my rock bottom was, but I wanted to know, what was your rock bottom? What did that look like? And how did you come out of it?
Yeah, so basically it was May 2018. And as you said, I had basically spent 10 years prior to that addicted to cocaine and alcohol. I was the biggest chain smoker. I had no self-worth, no career, no confidence, nothing. And basically I went on a yoga teacher training course in Thailand. And it was because, anyone who's got any experience with addiction will know there are plenty of times where you're like, this is it. This is going to be the moment that I give up and I'm going to, change. And in one of those moments I had said, okay, I am going to sign up for a yoga teacher training course. And this is going to be my moment to change my life. So I went away, 200 hours of yoga, meditation, obviously no access to any of my vices, and thought this is it. And then I got back to London with good intentions, and within 24 hours, I was back taking drugs. I went on a 48-hour bender. And at the end of that, I'd done a lot of things I regretted. I woke up so full of shame and regret and self-loathing, and above all, a real sense of hopelessness. And I was like, I am never going to change. And so I called a friend of mine and I was like, what shall I do? And she said, oh, babe, don't worry about it. I just listened to this podcast on manifesting. You should listen. And I was like, okay, I'll try anything. So I listened to this podcast on manifesting and something just clicked. And what clicked was that manifestation was all about self-worth, and I had none. So I was manifesting, but in the wrong direction. I was keeping myself stuck. I was keeping myself, I think, in victim mentality. And I realized in that moment that I had to take responsibility for my life and for my happiness and to create change. And that's what I decided to do.
I believe in that so much just because I've kind of lived it and done it myself, so I know how true it is. But can you explain to people, kind of we'll start at the basics of what you think manifestation is?
Yes. So to me, manifesting is using the power of your mind to change and create the reality you experience. And to manifest literally means to make it happen. And it is a kind of wonderful combination of philosophy and science and wisdom and some spirituality. But I think there are lots of misconceptions around manifesting. And I think that because it's become such a like trendy word to use and people use it in conversation, they're like, oh my God, I manifest this handbag. Or, they're using it in a term that actually is really devaluing it because it's not being understood correctly. And so I think you get a lot of misconceptions and you get a lot of criticism over the practice. But actually, it's just because it's not being understood really in the way it's supposed to be. I mean, this is a practice that has been around for centuries. And manifesting isn't just about visualizing what you want. This is a self-development practice. And to me, all inner healing falls underneath the manifesting umbrella, because this is a practice that at its core is about self-worth and about empowerment. It's about believing that you are worthy of receiving abundance. It's about changing your mindset. It's about becoming the best version of you that can exist. And it's about taking action. And so I went away and, in the beginning, and I learned everything I could, not just about manifesting, but about self-development. I was listening to so many different speakers and philosophers and scientists. And what I realized was that so many of these people were talking about manifestation, even if they weren't using the exact word. So I then developed my own unique 7-step guide to manifesting, which is, the book Manifest. And it has worked not just to change my own life, but like hundreds of thousands of people. So it's really a privilege to be able to talk about manifestation because I think it's so life-changing and powerful.
Well, and you're able to really speak on it from a place of, one, you got yourself out of a rock bottom moment through it, and two, you've done so much research, like you said. And so like I could talk about manifesting all day, but I haven't done as much research as you. I just can give examples of how it has worked for me personally. But I feel like you have so many examples of how manifesting and doing the work on yourself has impacted your life personally. I'm assuming, one, that you're writing books on it now, but what other examples do you have of how it's impacted your life, what you've gained from this?
Oh my God. I mean, I truly think that there is nothing in my life that I haven't manifested. The first example really was that 2 weeks after I discovered manifestation on 7th of June, 2018, someone called Wade messaged me on a dating app. And on the 7th of June, 2019, a year to the day, my baby boy Wolf was born. So yeah, I mean, I got my baby from it. I have an incredible career, one that I really only could have dreamed of. But above all, and I think the most important gift it's given me is I have found a sense of confidence and inner peace that I truly never thought was possible. I mean, it's hard to describe the self-loathing I have always lived with. I mean, that inner critic has been such a monster for all of my life, like since my earliest years. I genuinely believed when I was young at school, I was like, if I wasn't me, I would be so much happier. Like if only I could live in someone else's body. And so to be able to walk into, like someone said to me recently, like, what is confidence? And I'm like, confidence is being able to walk into a room unapologetically yourself and be able to leave, not worrying what everyone thinks of you. And to be able to do that is a really liberating feeling.
Well, especially over, I mean, if you said it was 2017 or 2018 that you started this journey.
2018, yeah.
So 19, 20, 21,
5
So to
years.
be able yeah, to
Yeah.
be able to do that over 5 years when you've lived a certain way for, I'm not sure how old you are, you're beautiful and you look young, but like to live a certain way and believe a certain thing about yourself for that long, to then just start a practice and work on it, like probably daily, maybe even hourly for you for 5 years, it just gives people so much hope that they can do it too. Because even people, as children, you can feel that way, but you can also feel that way as an adult in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. And it's never too late to start this kind of practice for anybody, right? Because look at what it's given you in just 5 years.
Oh my God, 100%. I think it's like never too late to change. I mean, I was just 28, about to turn 27, about to turn 28 when I discovered it. But, it's been an ongoing journey as well. Like I always say, this isn't a quick fix, but manifesting is a way of living. I live and breathe my 7 steps. So I use them every day. It is absolutely, like I say, it's for everyone and it's free. This stuff is free. Like it's accessible. It's about a mindset shift. It doesn't, I don't know. It's not, and the reason I said at the beginning, like there's some part of it spiritual, but not all of it, is that you don't have to be spiritual. Like I wouldn't call myself a particularly spiritual person. I definitely didn't ever. I mean, I am a bit more now, but I didn't start that way. In fact, I was very much under like I'm a realist, but this practice isn't actually spiritual. It's about empowerment and it's about being proactive. And so if you're listening and you're like, I'm not sure if it's for me, really give it a chance.
Well, yeah, because it's also science, like the law of attraction. It's also, I'll never forget watching that movie and reading the book The Secret when I was like 23, 24 years old, just being like, oh, I feel like I can do this. Like I feel like this is, they're telling you the science behind it and why it works. And then I started seeing things being able to happen from doing it. And I was like, okay, this is, yeah. And I wasn't spiritual at all back in however long that was ago. But you talk about these 7 steps, and I'm such a firm believer that you need to constantly be learning and growing to be a better person. So I would love to learn what I could be doing better. And I think everyone would. And your book Manifests, you've got the 7 steps that you were talking about to living your best life. So I want to go through the 7 steps with you. And I want everybody to get the book as well, because I'm going to. And I want people to actually like you said, practice it, live it every day. So one is be clear in your vision. Now I have a question about this because I was looking at Rob Dyrdek's, like he can envision what he wants his life to look like down to the outfit he's wearing. Do you mean like be clear in your vision, like visualizing exactly what you want, or what do you mean by that?
I think there's lots of different aspects of it. I think the first thing is really to understand that be clear in your vision is asking you to really think about what you want your life to look like 1 year, 6 months, 5 years from now. And I think that, yes, part of that is visualization and like just seeing it. But actually, more importantly, it's really about understanding how you want to feel within that space and how you want your life to feel. Like, do you want to feel more empowered? Do you want to feel like there's more passion in your life? Perhaps do you want to feel like you're experiencing adventure? It's just as much about seeing it as it is about understanding how you want it to feel. But more importantly, it's about thinking about who you want to become. Like who is the highest version of you that exists, and can you visualize that person? Because this isn't just a journey of like attracting things. Like the things are great, yes, you can attract abundance and money and cars, or not cars, but jobs or houses or whatever it is. But it's really about the fact that if you are manifesting the best version of you that could possibly exist, the most empowered version of you. And you can think about that version of you in terms of like, what's that version of you doing day to day? What are the daily habits? What are your boundaries like? How do you react to other people? How much respect do you have for yourself? And then when you've got this idea of not only what you want, and you've got clarity in your goals, and you've thought about who you want to become, there are then 2 things that you can do. One is to create a vision board, and the other is to do visualization meditations or visualizations. Visualizations are really important to this practice, and there is neuroscience behind this. So when we regularly visualize our goals, we essentially prime our subconscious to reach those goals by filtering out unwanted information and seeking out opportunities that are aligned with that goal. And so that's why so many athletes do it. so many people will speak about the power of visualization, and it is,
Oh,
there is science behind it. It's really, I think about it, our subconscious is 95% of our brain's activity. So essentially we're getting it to work for us. So it's a really simple practice that will help us.
I did a week therapy course where we did visualizations every day. And one time it was about 2 hours of doing a visualization.
Wow.
And again, we didn't like, same thing was when you went away, we didn't have devices, nothing, like no distractions. So on day 3, I could just drop right in and just like get to that point so much easier. And I feel like I've lost it a bit, but I know how powerful that can be. I actually, before you came on, I was looking up these like manifestation and meditation pods that you can buy where
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
oh, it's a whole, I'm going to send you a link after
Oh,
because
please.
they should send you one, and it's like they should gift you one because I think it's pretty expensive, but it's like it's so cool. And it has this, the website has this whole thing about how it works, so I'll send it to you after. But
Well, please
yeah,
do.
it's,
That's so cool.
I feel like you got to like get in the right zone and put your devices away and really like you said, visualize. It's so important.
Okay, embarking on a journey to new places around the world truly feeds our souls as human beings. Speaking in the local language as if you were a native, just, I don't know, it just feels like it elevates that experience so much more. I travel with Cleo all the time. English is her third language. She speaks Spanish, she speaks French, and I'm always just like, oh, this is so clutch. But that's where Rosetta Stone comes in. So with a legacy spanning over 3 decades, Rosetta Stone dives into an immersive learning journey tailored to your lifestyle, whether you're seated in your desktop or you're exploring with the app on the go. Don't let another moment pass without unlocking the world of endless possibilities. As an exclusive offer for Off the Vine listeners, you're going to get the chance to enjoy, get this, 50% off discount on Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership, okay? That's your ticket to unlimited access to 25 captivating language courses for a lifetime. So visit rosettastone.com/vine today and claim your 50% off for unlimited language learning adventures that will enrich your life forever. Okay, you guys, I'm going to share with you a little gem that I'm obsessed with and that I've discovered for indulging in luxury without breaking the bank. Like, who doesn't want that? Enter Quince, okay? The ultimate destination for premium finds at prices that will make you do a double take. But here's the kicker. The prices are slashed by 50 to 80% compared to what you would typically expect. I was always like, how do they do it? There must be a reason. But here it is. By forging direct relationships with top factories and cutting out that middleman, plus they're committed to ethical practices and top tier quality. It's truly a win-win. So let me rave about my latest obsession, okay? The matching navy set I snagged from Quince. It's the super soft fleece cropped wide leg pant paired with the cozy fleece pullover hoodie, practically living in it, maybe traveling in it every time. It's not just cute, it's just ridiculously cozy. And I've been traveling all over the place for the live podcast tour, and at this point I'm like, it's getting dirty. I can't stop wearing it. Just immediately on after the show, before the show, on the planes. And the fact that they've crafted it with integrity, it only deepens my admiration. It's a no-brainer for me. So go to quince.com/vine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/vine to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/vine.
Now I'm going to gloss over 2 only because I want to dive into them more after. So
Okay.
remove the fear and doubt. I really want to dive into after, so we'll get back to that. But what about number 3, align your behavior? Can you explain that one?
Align your behavior is all about being proactive on your manifesting journey, and it's about taking action. Essentially, it's about taking the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to go. So I always say you can't think your way to success. This really is about hard work. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone. It's about creating change. And it's also about showing up as your future self. It's about acting as though you are already ready, and sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we're waiting to be ready. We're waiting to feel more confident. We're waiting for XYZ to make the moves, when actually it's about showing up as your future self would and doing it now. And in doing so, you start to reach those goals. So it's kind of, I always say step 2, which, as you said, we'll go into. Step 2 has this really nurturing feeling to it. It's this really, this is all about healing and about the inner work. And it's got this almost like much more feminine energy. Whereas align your behavior has this much more masculine energy. This is about discipline. It's about motivation. It's about, giving yourself a kick up the ass when you need it. So I love this step. And it's the step that I think a lot of people miss, or cynics miss. So they'll say, oh, you can't just, visualize what you want and then expect it to happen. It's not magic. And I'm like, no, I agree. You can't expect it to happen. It's not magic. You have to take action.
That's true. That's actually a good reminder for me. I've never really thought about this. Actually, there's a few steps where I'm like, wow, I want to live by this every day as well, because I wouldn't have thought of aligning my behavior, even though, like, even just aligning myself with the people I like to that make me feel happy, the right people. All of a sudden, I sleep better at night. I'm in a better mood. I'm doing things I love to be doing with them. It's like aligning yourself in so many different ways.
Imagine that you're in constant dialogue with the universe. And you're always trying to show the universe that you believe you are worthy of receiving. So everything that you do is a reflection of that. So what you are thinking, how you are behaving, what boundaries you set, how you treat yourself, that all impacts your manifesting process because of this constant dialogue.
And I love number 4, overcome tests from the universe, because everybody always thinks too, if you're just thinking of it as this trend or buzzword manifesting, you all of a sudden you have doubt if you are being tested, and you think like, oh, I must not be on the right path. Yeah. So can you talk to us about overcoming tests from the universe?
So on your way to your manifestation goals, you'll be met with tests. And these tests are really there to ask, how worthy do you really think you are of receiving? And tests can come in a number of different ways, but often they come as just challenges and obstacles, rejection. And when these things happen, we always have a choice. So the choice is, do I see this rejection or obstacle as proof that I'm not worthy of it? So do we just say, see, I knew it wasn't meant for me, I knew it was going to happen, and then you allow yourself to be deterred by it, and essentially you keep yourself stuck? Or are you able to say, okay, what can I learn from this? What value can I take from this? And how can I persist through this challenge and keep going towards my goals? So this step really, it allows you to kind of go through the ebbs and flows of life with such greater ease and resilience. And for me, it's my favorite step, because I always say manifesting is a life practice, which means we have to account for real life. And life comes with its challenges. It's not easy all the time, and you don't learn to manifest and life is perfect, but you are able to handle those challenges in such a empowered way, and you don't get hopeless. You're able to say, look, I'm going through a rough time, I'm going through a bad patch, but I know there is a reward on the other side. And that is like it's such an amazing feeling. So if I'm going through a dark time, I'm not hopeless. I'm like, something good is on the other side of this.
I try and think that way too. Even when I'm sick, I'm like, hey, my body is ridding myself of toxic energy and bad things, and I'm going to feel so much better on the other side. So I need to like be grateful even for feeling sick right now, because yes, it sucks and it's not fun, but I'm getting rid of certain energies. And I like what you said too about how things will just keep showing up for you, right? If you get stuck. Where one of my favorite sayings is, what you don't heal will always be revealed. It's like another sign from the universe, overcoming these tests is also showing you what you need to work on. So a lot of times when something's really just like getting in my way, it's making me feel like giving up or feeling stuck, I'm like, oh, clearly this is hitting something that I need to really focus on and work on. And then I'll go to therapy and talk through that, because I'm like, clearly it's showing me something that needs to be healed. So it's such a good tool.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Now, embracing gratitude. Explain number 5 to, or no, it's number 5 to me.
Yeah. So gratitude is this feeling of appreciation. It's this really high vibrational frequency. And, my mom used to say this phrase in Arabic, which like describes this step perfectly. And it translates as, for every thanks you give, you get 1,000 in return. And that is it. Like a grateful heart, that quote, a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. And I think that people can often miss gratitude when it comes to manifesting, because they're so focused on the goals. Whereas gratitude is really asking you to enjoy the journey and be able to make the life that you already have feel as good as possible. And it's about putting yourself in this abundant mindset, so that I already have so much. I already have so much love. I already have everything I need. And in return, the universe will keep giving you more of it, because you're, because of an abundant mindset does attract more abundance to you. Look, I've got loads of tools in the book of like how to practice this step, and the positivity journal in there is an amazing one. But I call it the manifesting sweet spot. Knowing what you want whilst being entirely grateful for all that you already have.
Yes, yes. And something that I found that I was doing, and this is not good, is I would say, okay, well, if I do this, like, then I better get good things in return. And it's kind of being like dropping that idea and being grateful without like, like I always say, when a dog sits, he wants a cookie. And you have to like, want to sit without getting the cookie. Just do it out of, like, don't do it for something.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, apartments.com has more rental listings than anywhere else. So finding the perfect place is easier than ever, and so is finally moving in together. Just the two of you. It's a really big step, lots of new responsibilities, lots of adjustments. Most likely they'll wake you up at odd hours to go to the bathroom, and you'll most definitely find yourself in trouble coming home late for dinner. They might even unroll all of your toilet paper next time. It's just what happens when you two find a new place together. But you're not doing it because you feel like it. No, you're doing it because you love them, because they're family. And that's why apartments.com has the most pet-friendly rental listings on the internet, so that you and your furry family can find the perfect new place together. Apartments.com, the place to find a pet-friendly place. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. How's your social battery right now? I think mine is, it's on its way down, but it's good right now. Are you drained? Are you bursting with energy? It can be really easy to ignore our social battery and just spread ourselves too thin, especially with social gatherings, picking up after winter, work, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you thrive around people. Maybe you need some more alone time. Either way, therapy can give you the self-awareness to kind of build that social life that doesn't drain your battery. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, I would give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So all you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time, no matter what, for no additional charge. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, I would give BetterHelp a try. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with the licensed therapist today. You can even switch the therapist anytime for no additional charge, which is huge for finding the right one for you. I always say don't give up. It might take a couple. So find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/find today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/find. Okay, if you're like me and you just know what TRL stands for, but miss being able to play in the background and after school, then you are me. You are a millennial. And if you're a millennial, it's time to add Clarins Multi-Active Cream to your daily routine, okay? Take it from me. The good news, Europe's #1 skincare line has a solution that you can trust. Okay, it's rooted in nature and innovated with science. Clarins has a long legacy of creating industry-first, plant-forward products. So Multi-Active helps tackle the first visible signs of aging skin and damaging effects of stress brought on by, what we all go through: lack of sleep, fatigue, fast-paced lifestyles, a phenomenon known as stress aging. Yes, which accelerates the natural aging process. So Clarins Multi-Active Cream is available online now. Go to clarins.com/find and get Multi-Active Day and Night Cream for 10% off, a free welcome gift, plus free shipping on your order. That's Clarins, clarins.com/find with promo code VINE. clarins.com/find with promo code VINE.
Turn envy into inspiration is my other favorite one that you say, which is the other one I want to dive into. So we'll go into those two. But number 7, trust in the universe. It sounds simple, but how do we do that?
So trust in the universe really is all about surrender. So a lot of people think that manifesting is about control and, it's about holding on to those goals and thinking really hard about it. But actually, this is blocking us. When we become obsessed with our goals, I think we put off this desperate energy. And that desperate energy is a representation of the fear and doubt that is blocking you from having the things that you want. So the trick is actually to know what you want and then let it go. It's about sitting in this unwavering confidence that you don't know how, but you just know it will all happen the way it's supposed to. And I think that a part of the way that you can strengthen this trust and this surrender is by looking at all the coincidences and serendipities in your life that are occurring and allow them to show you that the universe is always listening. So, whether you're thinking about someone, they call you the next day, or, you're talking about something with a friend and then an email about it pops up. Look at these as not as just coincidences, but as signs from the universe. I think that, for me, my secret sauce to manifesting is never emotionally attaching to the outcome. So it's about knowing I have all these goals, but I don't think that these goals are what's going to make me happy. And this should be like the disclaimer of manifesting, that reaching your goals won't make you happy. Reaching goals doesn't make anyone happy. You'll know this. You've probably reached some amazing career goals and you're over it in 30 seconds. You get an adrenaline high. You probably feel really proud of yourself. And then you move on. If we attach happiness to the outcome of our goals or the things we want to manifest, we actually really ruin the journey for ourselves. The trick is actually to be able to enjoy the process there, enjoy the hustle. Like, that's actually the fun bit. And know that those things, goals are important because we need something to work towards. We need something to motivate us, but they're not the thing that makes us happy. Happiness is built along the way.
That is such a good reminder for me too, because I do this all the time where I go, what's next? And that's not, the healthiest mentality, because I won the mirror ball and Dancing with the Stars, and I go, okay, but what's next? And then I buy the house that I've been thinking about, and then I'm not appreciating how hard I worked to get there, what I did, how I moved mountains to get to where I am today. I go, oh, I don't have a plan for what's next. So, like, how can I not be thinking about this, instead of still appreciating all the hard work that went into it? And I like that reminder to, where I'm at right now. Don't be thinking about the next goal that's going to, achieve happiness. Think about what I'm doing right now to appreciate how far I've come and how grateful I should be to not have to know what's next,
And that's why the gratitude practice is so good for that, because happiness really is about enjoying small moments of joy every day, taking time to appreciate them.
Yes, I agree. Okay, diving into number 2, I can't wait to chat about how we remove fear and doubt, because are there like specific tools that you can give us to help ease our mind and not let these thoughts consume our brains, because it's so overwhelming and it's so hard to not do that.
Oh my God, it's so hard. So fears and doubts are a culmination of all our insecurities, low self-worth, limiting belief, and they are the two things that are blocking all of us from having what we really desire, because we can only manifest what we subconsciously believe we are worthy of receiving. And so that journey of removing fear and doubt is the healing journey required for manifestation. And there's two kind of sides of it when it comes to this removal process. One side really is about going deeper with the help of therapists, counselors, healers, doing things like hypnotherapy. Like, our past is constantly controlling us. Like, it is. So until we are able to look at our old traumas and our wounds and really process them so that they don't have power over us anymore, we're not really going to be able to free ourselves. Like, it's an essential part of the process. But there are things that we can do day to day as well, because we have this thing called neuroplasticity, which is our brain's ability to form new neural pathways through repeated thought and action. So we can start to change our belief systems. And this is important because our belief systems are the lens through which we view the whole world. Okay, so I always imagine that you're wearing a pair of glasses, and if you have these limiting beliefs, I'm not enough, I'm no good, life is unfair, good things don't happen to me, it's like our glasses are dirty, like they're completely murky. You can't see straight, you can't see the opportunity, you can't see the good in your life, you can't see the positive relationships in your life. And the process really is about cleaning these lenses, being able to replace these limiting beliefs with more empowering ones. So there are lots of little tools we can use. I mean, one of them is, really about being hyper vigilant with our self-talk and managing the way that we speak to ourselves. Now, I know everyone listening to this will have heard that before and they know it, but it really is about just being so unbelievably strict with yourself, and being conscious and aware and having awareness of your thoughts. So, for me, for example, with some of the limiting beliefs that I've overcome, it will just be that every time I feel it coming, and because our thoughts are just habitual, they're just patterns. First, we have to start to be aware of them so we know what's coming up, we know what chatter is coming, and being so strict with yourself. What's another thing I could say to myself to replace this thought? What's another perspective I could take? So let's say somebody sends you an email and maybe it seems a bit direct. your interpretation might be, see, they hate me, or I've done something wrong. What was it about me? And immediately, actually, you can say, okay, what's another interpretation I could make of this? Okay, perhaps they were busy. Perhaps they're not having a great day themselves. Perhaps it's nothing to do with me. So there's always a new perspective we can take on things. And these little perspective shifts, actually, when we start to practice this, it starts to become something that we do habitually when we do it enough. But you just have to force yourself in the beginning to start to choose empowering perspectives rather than ones that are holding you back. Another thing you can use is affirmations. You know, affirmations are so easy. They're the easiest tool to use. So the way they work is that our subconscious can't differentiate a truth from a lie. So whatever you tell it, it will believe to be true. So if you are walking around saying, I'm no good, I'm not enough, life is unfair, good things don't happen to me, your subconscious is trying to find evidence to support that. Whereas if you're able to say, I am worthy, I am enough, life is good things are meant for me, your subconscious will try to find evidence to support that. So we can use affirmations to basically replace those negative thoughts, but also to feed our subconscious with this really empowering feeling. And when we think a thought enough, it becomes a belief. There's kind of 3 times of day when they're most powerful to use, but you can use them anytime you need to replace a negative thought. Remember, you can only have one thought at a time, so you do have the power to choose your thoughts. But as you're waking up, as you're falling asleep, and when you're in a meditative state, that's when you're most susceptible to positive messaging. So for me personally, I end my day with a visualization meditation because I like to fall asleep to that vision of my future self. And I always start my day with affirmations. So those waking moments are so powerful. And usually we waste them because we just go straight to check our notifications. But I'm just asking everyone to give me 30 seconds. That's all it takes. So you wake up, before you reach for your phone or anything else, you just say to yourself, today is going to be an incredible day. I love the person that I am. I love the person that I am becoming. You know, so just anything positive just to start your day and feed your subconscious with something that it's then going to find evidence for throughout the day. And there's so many more tools, but they're all in the book.
I could listen to you talk all day. One, your accent is beautiful, but two, you know what you're talking about, and it's just so, it's motivating me. Like I'm getting excited to talk to myself in a more positive way. But I try and do that when I wake up in the morning. Before I get my phone, I will hold my dog's paws and do affirmations, and it's like my favorite way to wake up because it's just
So
and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like thinking like the dogs could feel my positive energy, so they're gonna have a good day, and I just love it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I'm convinced they manifest in the morning with me and meditate. It's the cutest thing ever. My second favorite point of well, they're all amazing, but the point of turning envy into inspiration. I think it's obviously natural for everyone to have this little feeling of jealousy from time to time, but recognizing what that jealousy is, you know, and how do we take that feeling and make it productive, turn the envy into jealousy and make it motivate and inspire us. I saw this quote that it said like comparison, because I've been saying a lot about high vibrational and high frequency on Instagram lately, and people are like, what does that mean? Some people get it and some people don't, but comparison and jealousy, like that's such a low vibration. And on a high vibration, this meme said, we don't compare, we collaborate. And I really loved that. So how do we turn envy and jealousy into motivate and inspire us?
So it's also one of my favorites. So envy comes from this really low vibrational scarcity mindset. So what it says is that you have something and that might mean less for me. And it really is it's a manifestation of our fear and doubt, essentially, of our insecurities. And inspiration is the antithesis of envy. And that comes from an abundant mindset. It says, you have something and I can have it too. There's enough for us all. And I think that all of us feel envy, and it's a totally natural emotion. I mean, look at kids, okay? It's an emotion that they experience very early on. And so it really is natural. But a lot of us really try to deny when we feel it, and we don't like to admit when we're feeling it. And the problem with that is that when we don't admit that we're feeling something, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to change it. And often with envy, it gets passed on as judgment. So, you know, how many times does a confident person walk in the room and you'll say, oh, they're so up themselves, or something along the lines. And actually, that's envy in disguise. It's actually somebody going, God, I wish I had that confidence. And so what you can do in those moments is, once you start to actually admit when you're feeling envious or jealous, you can allow it to show you what still needs healing, show you what you want more of, and then you can turn it into an inspired thought. You can say to yourself, I cannot wait to walk into a room and feel that confident. Or if you're scrolling through Instagram and someone's on holiday again, instead of being like, oh, I can't believe they're away again, it's, you know what, I am so in need of a break, and I'm going to add that place to my vision board. And in fact, I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to be happy for that person. This is about celebrating others as well. And in that celebration, what we say to the universe is, I am not threatened by another person's success. In fact, I'm allowing them to show me what's possible. And I think that the act of celebrating somebody else is such a demonstration of that abundant mindset. And I do believe you are rewarded in return.
Yes, I agree. That's something that I feel like I've struggled with. It's funny because I do it more with men than women. I find myself wanting to root on other women and empower, and there's enough room. And then I find myself with certain men, if they're in the same industry as me, I get very competitive and want to win, where I think, well, I've got it figured out because I champion other women. And that's, I feel like I'm meant to do that. Where with men, I'm like, they can't win, they're slime balls and they're just sharks and they're doing things differently and they don't deserve it. I get competitive with that and it's hard for me.
Well, it's a really interesting thing to observe. Like, what is your belief around men that needs healing in general? And then
which is so funny because my dad is like my hero, and I'm like, if I even find a man half of the man that my dad is, like, what a blessing. And so I grew up like having such a great example, but then I dated some shitty guys.
Well, beliefs can be formed at any time. It's not always a result of our parents. But it's great. I think it's really interesting to observe where our envy is coming up for us. I mean, and it's something that, look, is always going to happen throughout our lives. So there's definitely, I use this step, if somebody gets something or I see something on Instagram and I'm like, I'll really openly say, oh my God, like, let's say I'm sat with my team and somebody's just posted something, work related. I will say, like, oh my gosh, that has really made me feel a bit jealous. And what's that showing me? And how can I use that as fuel actually to do better?
Yeah, it's a great perspective to have. And I got there with women because I worked on it. I used to be jealous in my 20s. Like I got there with women because I worked on it. Now I guess I need to work on it with other men, but it is again, it's showing me something that I need to be healed. So it's a good lesson. Only because you reminded me that, and you said something about high vibrations earlier. Could you explain to my listeners what you believe high vibrations and low vibrations are?
So everything in the universe is made up of energy. So the sky above us, the chair we're sat on, us, but also our thoughts and emotions. Everything is energy. And what differentiates one thing from another, like us from the chair or our thoughts, is the density and the frequency of the vibrations of the atoms. And so you have things that have high vibrational frequencies and things that have low vibrational frequencies. So high vibrational frequency emotions are those such as gratitude, love, peace, acceptance, inspiration, and low vibrational emotions are those such as shame, anger, guilt. Now, the law of attraction, the law of attraction is not like hard science, right? But we know it. But the neuroscience of manifesting absolutely is. Law of attraction is not hard science, but anecdotally, we know it to be true. Now, the law of attraction says that like attracts like. And so high vibrational feelings will attract things that match that frequency. Now, I think that we all know this is true because when we wake up in a bad mood, we're angry, we're bitter, we're resentful, what happens? We spill our coffee, we miss our train, somebody pisses us off, a bill comes through the door, right? And yet when we're in a great mood and we're feeling good and we're full of, that gratitude and that abundant mindset, we drive to walk and all the traffic lights are green, and everything good seems to happen on those days. So I think it's really understanding that, yes, our energy does matter. And, I'm somebody that, it's very powerful in my manifesting process. Oh my God, if I'm in a bad mood, watch what happens. Like I feel the negative effects of it. Whereas if I'm feeling good and I'm in my high vibe, I do attract more good things to me. So yeah, that's what it's about.
I love it. I just believe it can be real. It can be really helpful and improve people's emotional and mental well-being to even just be aware of having those high vibrational thoughts.
Yeah.
Like just even saying, "Oh, that's a low vibrational way of thinking. I can recognize that." Let's kind of what we've talked about this whole time. But I thought a good way to end this podcast today would be to do kind of a manifestation challenge for my listeners, and I thought we could both kind of share intentions or goals for the week ahead. And if people are listening to this too, I want everybody to kind of leave a comment or review and let us know what their intentions are for this next week or month or year, just because I am such a believer in either speaking it out loud or writing it down. And I feel like that can make us all feel like we're one step closer to achieving it. So what is your intention or goal for the week ahead?
I guess, my intention and goal is always to be present in what I'm doing and to feel really mindful in it and to be able to have fun. I had loads of career goals in 2022 and 2023, and it was all about that. And this year, I really want to have fun. So, like, I'm going to Sweden next week for work, and I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be like, oh, this is stressful, or I want to go and have fun as well, because what I do for work is something I love.
I love that. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now too, because I get so stressed out. I have a podcast tour coming up, and I'm so excited for it because every single time I do it, I feel so much more connected with my listeners. I leave feeling like I'm giving something, like someone something good, and I feel like I'm getting it in return, like the energy between the crowd and myself. I feel like it's like I get inspired after leaving them, but it's the build up to getting there, booking the travel, booking the hotels. What am I going to do with the dogs? I'm not going to have them for, and my brain starts going into like spiral mode of all the things that are going to be hard. And I'm like, everything's done with the tour, and I'm just really excited to actually carve out some intentional time to focus on the fun stuff, like the prizes, the giveaways, the guests that are going to be coming on, the conversations I'm going to have, and having myself and people who are attending leave on a high vibration.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, I loved talking to you. I've been podcasting for 6 years, and this is one of my favorite conversations. I just loved hearing.
That is such an honor.
I genuinely mean that. I loved hearing you talk about it, and the fact that you've lived this life where you did struggle and you did hit rock bottom, and you've come out of that, and you're still going to always continue to work on this practice. And just even seeing these 7 steps and knowing about your book, I'm like, I feel just kind of, I don't know, I'm like recharged to live this kind of life again. So thank you so much.
So kind. Thank you. Really, that's so sweet.
Your insight and expertise on all these practices. I learned so much. I know my listeners are going to learn so much. And tell everybody where they can find your book and your socials.
Manifest 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life and Manifest in Action are available all major bookstores. And I'm Roxie Nafousi on Instagram.
Well, how do you spell that, your last name?
Oh yeah, Roxie with an IE and Nafousi NA, F for Freddy, OUS for sugar, I. I have said that so many times in my life. F for Freddy, S for sugar, I. You've got to think every time I call the bank or anyone.
Yes, you've got it dialed in. We'll also put it on our show notes and on our Instagram as well. So I can't thank you enough. I really enjoyed that, and I can't wait to read the book.
Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you so, so much for having me.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now ending. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind a rating and review.